name is Declan Golden. I'm a 17-year-old junior here at St. John's, and this is a Frisbee. As you might be able to tell by the title of my speech, this object, 175-gram plastic ultimate Frisbee, represents a great change in my life, one which has served me in the past and continues to serve me even in the face of ongoing adversity. For some context, ultimate disc was invented in 1968 by a group of high school students from Columbia High School in Maplewood, New Jersey. In over 80 countries today, 7 million women and men play ultimate disc, and we have a professional league, the AUDL, which has 22 teams in the North American region. As a relatively young sport, ultimate disc works very hard to promote an atmosphere of mutual respect and friendship amongst players. And it prides itself on turning teams of individuals into brother and sisterhoods of equals, brought together by mutual and common interest, enthusiasm for the sport. It's through these bonds that I've seen myself grow, improve, and develop into the person that I am today. But before all that, I was overweight. I struggled with my weight in a mental and physical sense through my middle school years. It was also during this time that I met one of my greatest friends, Mr. Yoon, who was a middle school proctor and high school math teacher at the time. But it wasn't until the winter of my freshman year that I learned that Mr. Yoon was also an ultimate disc coach in the high school. It was this small inception, which seemed insignificant at the time, that would grow to become the inception of my entire ultimate disc playing career. Before this point, though, I had spent the previous 4 years wandering from sport to sport, unable to stick with one for more than a year. I hoped ultimate disc would be the solution. And before I knew it, the spring season had arrived, and with it, an anticipation for the ultimate disc varsity tryouts, for which I was completely unprepared, save a couple sprints and throws I'd done the week before. Other than that, I walked into tryouts day one completely blind. And as you might expect, I, a newbie freshman, did not make the varsity team. But where some sports may have cut me that first day, seeing my inability and lack of experience, the ultimate disc coaches allowed me to stay for the entirety of the 4-day tryout. At the time, I thought it was an act of pity for staying and delaying my inevitable rejection from the program. But looking back on my first tryout, my decision to stay, and more importantly, my coach's decision to allow me to stay, I see that they were both fundamental in my love of disc. During these tryouts, the varsity coaches showed a profound willingness to spend extra time and effort to help someone like me out. And it was this outgoing and investment that, instead of destroying my confidence when my name was listed as one of the athletes who would be cut from the varsity team, it preserved it within the knowledge that people believed in me and my ability to succeed. With these tryouts fresh in mind, I tried out again for the junior varsity team and was able to make the cut. During my time on JV, I learned 2 fundamental lessons. The first of which, improvement is a road, not a destination. The second, you cannot travel on that road without the help of other people. I learned this first lesson the very first practice after tryouts, when I saw my teammates, my competition, or in other words, my motivation to improve. The second of these 2 lessons I learned after that first practice, when I became struck with the desire to get better. And Mr. Yoon, seeing this, offered his time to me that day to reach my goal. This continued for the first quarter of the season, 3 weeks of hard work, extra time after practice, and grinding just to get that little bit better, until one day, after a game against Masconomet High School. Another one of my coaches, Mr. Fondell, pulled me, with another player, Ethan Chenard, over to where the varsity team was warming up. He introduced us to the varsity coach who commended us on our game, and then offered both of us a spot on the varsity team. After those 3 weeks, representing 4 years of wandering from sport to sport, the work, the blood, sweat, and tears, the extra time, I felt it all pay off for my first time as an athlete. I joined the varsity team as the only freshman among a sea of taller and stronger juniors and seniors. It was like competing against 20 older brothers every single day at practice. But again, when I braced myself for ridicule and hate or judgment as to why I had been chosen to play varsity over others, I found none. In its place, instead, were 20 players and 4 coaches, all devoted to helping me as they would have helped any other member of the varsity team. They didn't so much care that I was younger or inexperienced, but what mattered to them was my enthusiasm and love of the sport, and how they could make my experience the best possible. We ended that season with a record of 15-4, but no matter the score, I was a changed person. I held myself taller. I thought of myself as an athlete for the first time in my life. And I had found a passion which I would use to drag myself from the depths of self-hate and my demons. The end of the varsity season was almost 2 years ago, and in the passing time, I have maintained the mental and physical health accumulated in the St. John's Prep and other Ultimate Disc programs I have been a part of. While preparing for this speech, reflection on my journey in the context of kinship has been my objective, and I can't help but smile at how unmistakably lucky I have been. Ultimate Disc has been the light in my tunnel so many times over the past 2 years, and in the spirit of Disc, I hope that I too have been that light for other people. One quote, which I believe sums up the kinship of Disc very well, is as follows: "Always be kind. If you see someone's falling behind, walk with them. If you see someone's being ignored, find a way to include them. And if you see someone's fallen down, pick them up. Be who you needed when you were going through hard times, and always remember, one small act of kindness can mean the world to someone." Looking back on my journey, I am cognizant of all the times I have been walked with, all the times I have been included, and all the times I have been picked up. These small acts of kindness can now be seen in the interwoven lattice of my identity today. So I think, would the world not be a better place if more people could find their safe place in which they live their lives to the fullest? Well, that's my goal, and that's the goal of the Ultimate Disc community. And I ask you, as compassionate individuals, to please think on this each morning when you wake up and each night when you go to bed. How can I make the world a safer place? Thank you.